Step away from the glitter. So today's video is another sit down video, and I thought I would go through my top 10 tips for being a little bit more sustainable this Christmas. I think there are things that we can all be mindful about, especially at this time of the year when there is so much consumerism. It's surrounding us everywhere. You can't avoid it. We all know that the true meaning of Christmas, whether you're religious or not, is really about spending time with the people that we love. All the things that are constantly being sold to us, they're completely secondary. It's really about family time, whether that's your chosen family or the family that you were born into. So I've jotted down 10 things that I could think of off the top of my head that I could suggest to you. I'm sure that most of you are doing at least a few of these things already. So hopefully you'll get some ideas, and if not, hopefully you'll just enjoy the video. So number 1, being a thrifter, this is my top tip, and that is to normalise buying secondhand gifts for people. There are so many beautiful vintage and antique items out there, but also you can find some incredible gems in your charity shops, or if you look throughout the year, which we do, we look for items when we're out thrifting at jumble sales, jumble trails, car boot sales, and if we see that perfect gift that we think will be just ideal for one particular friend or a person in our family, then we pick that up and we put it away for them. I prefer to do that than going out last minute and buying something just for the sake of it because I need a gift for someone. So we do that all year long. We pick up gifts for people and put them away for them. I feel like there's probably quite a stigma behind giving a second-hand gift. But there are so many things out there still in beautiful condition that have hardly been used, that really need a new home. And if you know somebody that could give that item a home and would absolutely love it for themselves, then it's the ideal thing. And in my opinion, it's the most sustainable way to give a gift. So number 2 is supporting independent shops and businesses, both on the high street and online. Ideally, if you have shops in your own hometown that you don't have to travel far to, then that's probably the best place to start. But there are still lots of independent online businesses as well, and I try to use those as much as possible. I don't shop on Amazon anymore, and I try to stay away from the bigger brand names and the bigger online shops. So if I'm looking for a particular gift, then I'll do a Google search and I will see where I can find it available, and I will always seek out an independent online shop rather than going to one of the bigger ones, because I know that that's going to help out a small business or a family. That's not only something that I relate to because we have a small family business online, but also consciously thinking about where you are purchasing an item from is a much more sustainable way to do it. So number 3 is thinking about the kind of wrapping paper that you're going to use, or just wrapping. Doesn't have to be paper. There are so many fun and alternative ways that you can wrap your presents these days. In the past, I've used scarves or offcuts of material and then tied them up with ribbon, and that's always been really lovely, especially if it's a scarf, because that's just one added bonus gift. But if you can't find any alternatives for wrapping paper, then recycled wrapping paper is also the way to go. And there are so many shops that are doing that now, thankfully. But I always used to purchase my wrapping paper from Oxfam because I always knew that it was sustainably sourced and it was recycled paper, and also I was giving a bit of money to charity as well. So that's something to think about. Number 4 is a continuation of that, which is to reuse any kind of gift wrap that you have received over the year or from last Christmas, and to reuse gift bags as well. I always keep the gift bags that I've been given. I pop them in a basket and bring them out to reuse every Christmas. But I also save tissue paper that I've had items wrapped in. And throughout the year, when you buy something online, it's quite often wrapped in tissue paper. So if you hoard that and keep that, I keep all of the ribbon and the pretty string that I might have been gifted myself or other people have around me over the year, and I keep that in a drawer ready to reuse. And sometimes you can get like fun little things in bunches of flowers that you can keep, that you can tie with some string just to make your parcels look a little bit prettier. Or another idea is you could go out for a walk and you could forage some holly or some evergreen or some berries or something like that. And then you can use those to add to your parcels just to give them an extra zhuzh, I suppose. You can be so creative without spending a penny. Number 5 is Christmas cards. Now, we've made a conscious decision not to buy and send Christmas cards anymore. And the reason for that is because they're so fleeting. They use so much energy to produce, and we have thousands upon thousands and thousands that we buy and send every year. And they just, hopefully, if they don't have glitter on, they can be recycled. But still, then there's the energy for recycling them after the fact. But most of them, let's be honest, they end up in landfill. So that's a personal decision for us. But I know that so many people love sending Christmas cards, and that's fine. It's still a lovely thing to do if you can do it sustainably. So things to make sure of is that it always has the FSC symbol on the back, and then you know that you're buying a sustainable paper product. And if possible, try to buy them from independent artists. There are so many people on Etsy that create and make their own Christmas cards. And by doing that, you're supporting another independent business. Of course, if you're artistic and crafty yourself, then making your own Christmas cards can be a really lovely thing to do, as long as you're using sustainable materials. And who doesn't love a handmade Christmas card? This is something that my daughter does every year. She always loves to hand make her Christmas cards. She comes up with a different design every year. And because it's something that's personal and it's something that's really thoughtful, I tend to keep those. I don't discard them. I have boxes full of keepsakes and handmade cards. It's just something that's lovely to look back on, isn't it? And lastly, an alternative for buying Christmas cards is buying charity cards, but making sure that you buy them from the charity shop. And then you know that the money that you're spending on those cards is going directly to that particular charity. Number 6 is LED lights. LED lights use a lot less energy, they're much more energy efficient, and therefore they're much better for the environment. And therefore they're much more sustainable, and they're better for your bank balance as well. It does pain me a little bit to say that, being as I'm a vintage reseller, because obviously vintage lights are just so beautiful. And I do buy them and I do sell them. So my advice wouldn't be to dismiss those completely, because at least you're reusing them and you're keeping them out of landfill. So secondhand lights and vintage lights are good to use as well, because you're repurposing, reusing, keeping them in circulation out of landfill. But for energy efficiency, LED lights are definitely the way to go. And if you're buying lights for your garden or for the outside of your house, then solar powered lights are definitely the way to go there. Okay, number 7. I'm not just saying this one because I'm vegan. I'm saying this because it is a really good sustainable choice, and it's a good choice to make for our planet and for the environment. And that is to add more vegetarian or vegan options to your Christmas dinner or to your buffet tables over Christmas. If you're a meat eater, of course I'm not telling you that you shouldn't have your traditional turkey or whatever it is that you have on Christmas Day. But be mindful about choosing less meat options for other meals all over the Christmas season, and just trying to reduce a small amount of the meat that you consume over the Christmas period. So number 8 is still on the food theme. And this is a tricky one over Christmas because there's so much lovely food in all of the supermarkets. We see it on our TVs all the time. We see it advertised around us. We talk about it. We know what we love at Christmas. We always have mince pies during December because we just love them. And there are certain things that we treat ourselves to at this time of the year. But it's also important to be really mindful about how much we buy. It's very easy to get carried away, to be doing your shopping, think, oh, that looks lovely, put that in my basket, oh, that looks lovely. You end up with cupboards full of food, a fridge full of food, and quite often we just can't get through it all, and we end up with a lot of food waste. So if we really think about how much do we need rather than I would like that, will we eat it? Will we have time to eat it? So meal planning or planning out what kind of food you'll need for each day, depending on how many guests you've got, or food that you're taking to a family member or a friend's house over Christmas. Sit down and make a plan, and then you know how much you will need and you won't overbuy, and you won't end up with a lot of food that's gone out of date because you just didn't have the time to eat it. All those waste from your meal because you bought a turkey that was too big, or you bought way too many veggies and cooked way too many things that your guests and you just literally couldn't even eat because there was just too much, and unfortunately it's just ended up in the bin, or better still, your compost. And then as a caveat to that, if you do end up with food that's left over after meals, try to be creative with it and actually eat it the next day or eat it for tea. You can make delicious stock from leftover vegetables. You can make soups or stews. And if you find you have dried goods or tinned goods in your cupboard that are still in date, but you know you're never going to get round to eating, then donate it to the food bank, because there are people that are always in need of food and will be very appreciative of anything that you have left over. So number 9, going back to gift giving. So many of us don't need stuff. So many of us don't want stuff, and there are so many things that end up in charity shops or being re-gifted because someone has ended up receiving something that they really weren't that keen on. So this tip is about buying gifts that you know somebody would really want. If it's something that they've mentioned, or don't be afraid to ask them, what would you like? And try to get a specific answer from them, because it's always better to give somebody something that you know that they're really going to treasure. But if you can't do that, then other ideas are that you could give the gift of an experience. Nick and I, we don't buy each other presents as such anymore, not material presents anyway. We generally buy a weekend away that we can share just after Christmas. And last year I bought him a wine tasting experience because I thought that would be something that we could incorporate into a weekend away, and then we both enjoy wine, so I thought that would be a really lovely day out, just the two of us, and something to enjoy rather than something that's going to sit in a drawer or something that you're never going to use. And it doesn't have to be something that's really expensive. It could be tickets to the cinema or a voucher for Ticketmaster. I think Airbnb actually do vouchers now. So you could buy a voucher for somebody that they could use towards a trip away for themselves during the year. There are so many different ideas out there now, and they're a really good alternative to a physical material gift. But 2 more ideas in terms of gift giving are handmade gifts. Everybody loves a handmade gift. I made candles for all my friends last year, and I really loved doing it, and I especially loved their reaction when they received them, because I think they all loved them. They were all very gracious about it anyway. It was my very first experience of actually making a candle. I'd never done it before, so there were definitely things that I would have done better another time, but I loved doing it, and as I say, I hope it was a nice thing for them to receive. But if you're short on money and you can't afford to buy an experience, or you can't afford to buy materials to make something, then the gift of your time is probably one of the most precious gifts that you can give to anyone. This year for my brother-in-law's birthday, we asked him, what would you like? And he said, I'd just like some babysitting, because he and his wife have got 3 small children, and that's more precious to them than anything else, is just being able to spend time together. So having a babysitter is an amazing gift for them. Okay, last but not least is give glitter a miss. Unless it's eco-friendly glitter. Not many people realise that glitter is made up of tiny, minute micro pieces of plastic. And it gets everywhere. It gets in your carpet, it gets in your clothes, it gets all over the place. And if it gets in your clothes, You put it in the washing machine, it goes into the water system. It is one of the most unenvironmentally friendly products that you could possibly ever purchase. So please, please give glitter a miss. Don't buy cards with glitter on. Don't buy items with glitter on. Stay away from the glitter. Stay away. Step away from the glitter. It is just, it's a nightmare all round. If you can purchase eco glitter, go for it. It's still not great, is it, when you're a parent and you end up with it all over the place, but it's better than the alternative. So that is number 10 on my list and my very last sustainable tip for Christmas. So I hope this video was useful to you in some way. Let me know if you do any of these things. And also I'd be interested to hear if there are any other sustainable tips that you might have that I haven't thought about. So all that's left to say is I wish everybody a very merry, sustainable Christmas. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.